Hey guys, welcome back to Detective D, the Silk Rose Murders. In the last episode, we wandered around and we talked to some people. Also, we opened up this lockbox, and when reviewing the recording, I noticed something in here. This antique chest. My grandfather had a chest like this one. I'd say it's easily 200 years old. And if we have a look at it, I said that we can't solve this yet. But as you can see, I overlooked this up here. This seems like we can already solve it, and I'm going to try to do so right now because I have a feeling like we have to move these so that we can actually... okay, won't budge. It looks like I need a set of 3 keys to fit these slots, so we don't have the keys yet, do we? Okay, so if that is the case... resume. If that is the case, then we can't solve this yet. Okay, so I was wrong. I'm sorry, so... doesn't really matter because we still have things to do. So let's go back to the courtyard. And we will have to go to the sitting room first. And I want to talk to Sun Ying in the first place. Okay, she doesn't have anything new to tell us, but we do have this, which we can show her. Okay, that's not a good idea, but we also know that this thing has a scent, right? An unusual taken from the candle box. This one has some discoloration in the middle. The darker area also smells unusual, but I can't make out what it is. And this we can show to Chef Chu, who has a keen sense of smell. So let's give that a try. Do you recognize the scent of the dust-colored part of this candle?
Yes, that's the same faint metallic scent that I detected in the air just prior to falling unconscious. It's hard to pinpoint since the substance is meant to be burned, but I'd wager a full purse that we're dealing with some form of opium.
Opium can be used to induce sleep?
I suppose in the hands of a skilled chemist or herbalist, it could be harnessed in such a way.
Thank you for your assistance, Chef Chu. We got another clue. Okay, determined that the candles were tampered with to induce sleep temporarily. Alright, so we got that going for us. So let's leave. We also do have something else, which are these charcoal tongs, and we can use those to... Do you have something new to tell us, by the way, Stuart? I don't think so, right? No. Okay, so if that's the case, we'll just leave for now. And we will use the tongs with the tree trunk, with a stump here. A bronze candlestick. It must have been dropped into the water and carried by the current into the tree trunk. There are small traces of blood and its shape matches that of the wound of the ambassador's head. This must be the murder weapon. Candlestick added to inventory. Alright, so we got 4 clues. Alright, since we have 4 things already, let's try to talk to Captain Bae once again. Captain Bae, I'd like to tell you what I've discovered so far. Oh, it works. Okay, cool.
It appears I have misjudged you, Magistrate D.
Then I trust you understand the gravity of the situation.
I certainly do, sir. But the truth is, I failed at my job, and now the ambassador is dead. The ambassador was a strict man, but he was always fair and honorable. But I have failed him. I have failed my country, and now my family will know shame for a generation because of it. If only I could face the killer right now, I would surely...
Calm yourself, Captain. Thoughts of vengeance will get us no closer to the truth. Much more hangs on the balance than just your pride.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let my emotions take over.
Tell me what you remember.
Truthfully, I am as confounded now as I was when I first fell unconscious. I was standing in the corner of the sitting room, observing the ambassador and the minister when suddenly I could no longer support my own weight. My head was spinning and my balance was gone. I fell hard to the ground and then blackness. You see this? This bump on my head was not there earlier today. I can tell you that.
And what happened after you woke?
When it became clear that the ambassador was not inside the house, I had a hunch that he might be here, so I came running immediately. That's when I discovered his lifeless body inside the cave.
How did you know he would be in the grotto?
It was just a guess, sir. You see, the ambassador spent much of his time here when he wasn't working. He enjoyed this garden very much, in particular this waterfall. He would often spend entire afternoons out here and inside the cave. On those days, he seemed peaceful. Did anyone ever join him? In the cave? No, sir, never. This is the only entrance, and I was always standing guard at this very spot. In fact, no one else could have gone in without me knowing.
What about you? Did you ever join him inside?
No, the ambassador made it very clear that he was not to be disturbed.
Did you notice anything unusual about the ambassador?
Ambassador Choi was a very private man. We rarely talked about anything other than official business. But from my vantage point, he did strike me to be especially preoccupied in recent weeks.
Preoccupied? How so?
I can't explain it really. There was just this look in his eyes, like his mind was drifting, you know, like that look on someone's face when they're daydreaming. And of course, all that time he spent in that cave by himself was so strange. I could never understand why he liked it in there so much.
Had you seen him like that before?
In all my serving as a personal bodyguard, I can't recall a time where he appeared so distracted. But these last few weeks, something seemed to be bothering him.
Are you aware of anyone who wanted to harm the ambassador?
In Penglai, I find that very hard to believe. Since our arrival 5 months ago, we have resided in the Chinese military base down the road and have rarely ventured beyond those walls. Outside of his regular visits, here to work on the treaty, the ambassador was very careful to avoid all unnecessary contact.
You say he spent a lot of time in this compound. Did he have much contact with the staff members?
He rarely spoke to them directly. Most of the time he had any requests, they were delivered by me. And those were usually the mundane type, like asking the cook to put less salt in his meals or requesting the maidservant to put his cap out to dry. Ah, that reminds me. I need to retrieve the ambassador's cap from the main courtyard.
Okay, so that is really weird because we did find a cap. Are you sure you are not mistaken? There's already a cap near the ambassador's body. How can it be in the main courtyard?
Yes. Well, you see, the ambassador is a rather portly man, and on humid nights such as this, he has a tendency to perspire, causing the underside of his cap to become damp. He used to complain about the discomfort, so he usually carried a spare cap with him. It was customary for him to switch to the fresh one before a meal.
Did you ask the maidservant to take it out this evening?
Yes, in fact, the maidservant usually came to collect the cap as soon as we arrived. I suppose she picked up on the routine pretty quickly.
Interesting. So the cap in the cave is a replacement, and the one in the main courtyard is the original he was wearing when he arrived.
Yes, that's correct.
Where exactly can I find the original?
I think the maidservant usually puts it on the stone bench by the north wall of the main courtyard.
In that case, allow me to retrieve the hat for you, Captain. I'll be sure to return it to you after I've examined it.
Of course. Thank you, Magistrate D.
Thank you. I may have more questions for you later on. Alright, so we know something. Just since we're here, there's nothing new going on here, right? No, what is supposed to go? I don't know what I was thinking when I did that. Okay, so let's go to the main courtyard then. He said there should be a cap at the stone bench, but there's nothing. A stone bench perfectly placed for taking in the sun on warm summer days. No hat. Captain Bae said the ambassador's cap should be on this bench. Where could it be? Let's ask the steward then. Maybe he knows something. I'm looking for Ambassador Choi's cap, the one that maidservant would have taken out to dry upon his arrival this evening. Have you seen it?
I'm afraid I haven't seen it, sir. You're better off asking Sun Ying, but she's a clumsy girl, that one. It wouldn't surprise me if she misplaced it. And between you and me, I don't think she'll last here much longer.
What makes you say that?
Well, I suppose I've seen her kind before, sir. Careless and too cunning for her own good. I can tell the good ones from the bad ones, you know. I've served in many distinguished houses, like the Liangs of Duji province. You must have heard of them. I served the great Liang family for over 10 years. That is, until 2 years ago, when the eldest son threw away their fortune in the gambling halls. I thought then that my fate had been sealed, destined to wait tables on tasteless inns and wine houses. Fortunately, the Liang matriarch was good enough to write me a letter of recommendation before things got even worse. That's how I ended up here, sir.
So you were acquainted with Minister Wang?
No, not at the time, sir, but you see, Minister Wang was once very close to the Liang clan. And when I presented him with proof that I had served the Liang household with distinction, he was quite swift in his decision to hire me.
Yes, I remember now. I heard about the Liangs while I was taking my final literary examination in the capital. If memory serves, official reports held that after suffering the shame of financial ruin, the entire family had committed suicide in their ancestral home in Duji. News of that terrible scandal echoed throughout the capital for weeks.
It was a horrible affair indeed, sir. Simply horrible.
Thank you. I'll leave you to your work.
It's not trouble, sir.
Okay. I can't quite put my finger on it, but his account of the Liang tragedy felt hasty and insincere. Unfortunately, my knowledge of that affair is only second-hand. I'll need something more substantial if I wish to confront him. Perhaps Minister Wang would know more. Okay. So we wanted to go to the sitting room anyway. So, do we want to talk to Minister Wang first? Yeah, let's just talk to Minister Wang first.
How can I help, detective?
Mr. Song told me an interesting tale about how he became steward of this estate. He credits a letter written by the late Madame Liang of Duji.
Yes, that is true. I did hire him largely on the strength of that recommendation. Liang Tao and his wife were a formidable aristocratic couple whose influence reached far and wide. I was fortunate enough to call myself a friend, but over the years we had lost touch. Truth be told, even at a young age, their firstborn son was an incorrigible troublemaker who had left an unsettling impression on me. Perhaps I distanced myself without even knowing it. In the end, that his gambling addiction was the cause of their downfall did not entirely surprise me. Even so, when I heard the news of their tragic demise, I was deeply saddened. I made many inquiries, holding out hope that the rumors surrounding their ritual suicide were grossly exaggerated, that perhaps some members of the family had survived the ordeal.
I understand this is a sensitive personal matter for you, Minister, but I assure you, I wouldn't be asking if it wasn't important.
Very well. My initial inquiries were fruitless until one day, months later, I received word from a reliable source that someone had indeed escaped unharmed. Although Madame Liang had accepted the path that her husband had chosen, her compliance did not extend to taking the life of their 3-year-old granddaughter. She secretly made sure the young one was spared the lethal dose of poison that killed the rest of them.
How remarkable.
Indeed, that little girl. She is nothing less than a miracle. With luck, she will live out the rest of her life peacefully in Chengdu, where we were able to locate a distant relative willing to take her in. So you see, when Song came to me with that letter of recommendation, I took it as an act of providence, one last opportunity to do right by my old friends.
Thank you, Minister Wang. Now that I know more private details about the Liang affair, I can confront Song to see if his story holds up. Okay, but before we do so, we will have to talk to the maid once more. So let's see what she has to say about the cap. I was told you were responsible for replacing the ambassador's cap. Was that the case tonight? That's right, sir. He always leaves an extra cap here so that I can dry it and have it ready for his next visit. Today was especially humid, so I knew he'd want his replacement right away. I put the one he was wearing on the stone bench in the main courtyard. That's the best spot to dry it.
Are you aware the ambassador's cap is missing?
No, sir, I had no idea. But I'm sure I left it on the stone bench. I always leave it there for drying.
Thank you, Miss Sun.
I hope I was of some help.
Okay, wait, before we do anything else, maybe the guard at the gate has something new to tell us. Since we're here, let's just go and see if he can tell us something. Can I, detective? No, okay, so he doesn't. That's all, Sergeant. Thank you. Alright, so we wasted some time, but that's okay. We want to be thorough, right? We want to be thorough. And to do so, we'll have to do other things. And all of a sudden, the steward seems really suspicious. So before confronting him, I want to talk to the Korean guard, Captain Bae, first. Maybe he knows something. So let's try to talk to him. Maybe he has something new for us. The ambassador's cap isn't on the stone bench.
That's odd. I saw the maidservant take it, that I'm certain of. I guess she could have taken it somewhere else. Have you tried asking her?
Thank you. May I have more questions for you later on? Okay, so... okay, all of a sudden things are... Okay, things are right convoluted right now. So, he is strange, and the maid also seems to have lied. Okay, so let's talk to him first. You mentioned your service for the Liang family in Duji. Just now the minister and I were debating a finer point concerning that affair. I thought surely if anyone could help us settle the question, it would be you. I hope you can indulge my curiosity.
But sir, aren't there more pressing matters to attend to?
I'm afraid you misunderstood me. That was not a request, it was an order.
I'm very sorry, sir. I did not mean to suggest...
No apology needed. Simply answer me this. When faced with ruin and shame, the entire Liang family retreated to their ancestral home and committed ritual suicide. No one was spared except for one. Can you tell me who survived?
But they all died. I'm sure of it. It was common knowledge.
Ha! It was indeed common knowledge that the entire family poisoned themselves, but only a select few knew the entire truth. As luck would have it, Minister Wang is such a person. The Liang matriarch knew her husband's suicidal plans, and had no choice but to follow his wishes. But she could not bear to see the family's youngest, her 3-year-old granddaughter, suffer the same fate. Madame Liang made sure the girl was spared the lethal dose of poison that killed the others. But you could not have known that, since, contrary to your false claims, you never worked for the Liangs at all.
But...
Not another word. Your crude and colorless retelling of the Liang affair never did sit well with me. How could a man devoted to the same family for so long recount such a tale with such an utter lack of sentiment? You're an opportunist, but not a very smart man. Like everyone else at the time, you heard the stories about the Liangs, but you decided you could use the knowledge to your advantage. You forged the letter you claimed was written by the matriarch and lied your way into your current position. What are you playing at, Song? Come out with it now!
It's true that I lied about my past, sir. I won't deny it any longer. I was desperate for a job, and although I had worked as a servant before, I knew that I lacked the experience for this position. But I assure you I had nothing to do with the ambassador's death.
I'll be the judge of that. What else did you lie about?
The ambassador's cap. I was the one who took it from the stone bench earlier this evening, just after the maidservant brought it out into the courtyard.
Explain yourself at once.
It was nothing nefarious, sir, I swear. I need something to protect myself from Sun Ying. Like you, she somehow found out about my dishonesty. She said she would keep quiet, but warned me that she would one day ask for something in return. I didn't want to take any chances, so I thought that if I could get the masters to distrust her, I could even the odds.
So you stole the cap as an insurance policy against your own deceit.
I just wanted to hide it long enough to undermine her competence, sir. I was going to return it, I swear. I know how foolish that was. Now please have mercy on this humble servant, sir.
Your petty squabbles are of little concern. As you said yourself, there are more pressing matters at hand. Now tell me where you hid the cap.
It's in the storage room. I placed it in a locked wooden chest. But in all the commotion, I seem to have lost the only key. That's why I've been sweeping the floor all night, sir. I've been searching all over for it. Look, I was able to find a piece of it.
Missing key added to inventory. What do you mean a piece?
Well, the chest has a very unique locking mechanism, sir. Its key is actually made up of 3 discrete pieces. It's an old Han Dynasty relic, but Mr. Wang is fond of antiques. I must have dropped them earlier, but I've only managed to recall one of the 3 pieces. I've looked everywhere, sir. The only explanation is that the other 2 pieces must have been picked up by 1 or more people here.
Very well, I will speak to the others about the 2 missing pieces. Alright, caught Song lying about his past and learned where he hid Choi's original cap. Oh, well, Stuart Chu. Okay. Stuart Song, sorry guys, I'm really bad with names. If you follow my channel, you know that I'm really bad with names. So let's speak to Minister Wang for a second. How can I help you about the missing set of keys? Did you happen to come across a key that was dropped somewhere on the premises earlier tonight?
No, I can't say that I have.
Okay. Thank you, Minister Wang. And off to Sun Ying. She's gone. Okay. So let's go to the kitchen and talk to Chef Chu first. About the missing set of keys. Did you happen to come across a key that was dropped somewhere on the premises earlier tonight?
A key? I don't think. Wait, do you mean this thing I found in the courtyard, or was it in the sitting room? Anyway, here you can have it.
Missing key added to the inventory. That's all for now, thank you. Alright, cool. We got 2 already. And the last one should be with Sun Ying, wherever she is. Maybe she is here at the main entrance somewhere? Okay, she is not. Maybe at the front gate. Let's talk to him about the key.
What can I do for you, detective?
About the missing set of keys. Did you happen to come across a key that was dropped somewhere on the premises earlier tonight?
As a matter of fact, I did pick up an oddly shaped cape in the courtyard when we were all looking for the ambassador.
Ah, alright. That's all, Sergeant, thank you. Okay, cool. Good thing we came here. I wasn't expecting that. I thought we would find it with Sun Ying. And it's really odd that she... Oh my goodness. Okay, that came as a surprise, guys. Heavens, no! Clearly suicide, but why? Dead, yet her body's still warm. She was alive only minutes ago. There's no mistaking it. She committed suicide right under our nose. Oh no. Okay, that clearly came as a surprise. Okay, it's a little distasteful to try to open the chest here, but we will have to do this. Alright. There, all 3 keys are in place. Still locked. Looks like I have to rotate these dials to the right position. Yeah, just as I put it, I think that we have to make it so that this thing, these all 3 combined look like this one. Oh man, that came as a surprise, I swear. That came, I didn't expect that at all. Okay. No? Okay, that... No, that wasn't the right combination. Okay, and it looks like the lock reset itself if for the dials aren't correct after a total of 6 turns. Ah, okay, so we only have 6 turns, huh? Okay, wait a second. So, 1, 2, There's no way that this is correct. But this might be good because we have this up here and this. So, is this is definitely not correct because this knob looks outwards. This might be correct. There's this knob and this knob. So let's turn this. Ah, there we go. Yes, that did the trick. Here it is, the cap the ambassador was wearing before it was exchanged for the replacement. Let's see if this one has a secret compartment. Original cap added to inventory. Okay, let's have a look at it. This is the cap. There's a small budge on the inside. As I suspected, a secret pocket is sewn into the lining. This one also has a small piece of folded paper inside. Signed letter added to inventory. Interesting. Let's have a look. My beloved Sun Ying, though you may despise me for it, my duty to my country compels me to choose against my own heart. These past few weeks by your side have ignited a fire within me that will never die. But now I must return to Korea. It is with great regret that I cannot take you with me. I hope you can someday forgive me. Yours, Choi Yong-jun. Sun Ying and Ambassador Choi. How clever. The cap replacement was just a way for them to exchange messages. Investigation complete. Speak to Minister Wang to reenact the crime. Alright. Let me just check, guys. We have hit the end of the episode mark, but we are close to finishing this, so therefore I will just overstep the boundaries for the time being. So let's talk to Minister Wang and reenact the crime. I believe I have the facts of the case. Here's what I think happened. Case reenactment. At first, what took place here tonight seemed overwhelming. A secret diplomatic mission, a mysterious sleeping gas, a cold-blooded murder, and in the end, an inexplicable suicide. But at the heart of the matter was but a simple connection between the two people, Ambassador Choi and Sun Ying. Unbeknownst to even his bodyguard, the two of them were exchanging letters upon each visit to this compound. To accomplish this, they used the cap exchange. Using the pretense of switching caps for the ambassador, the two of them managed to create a private line of communication. Over the course of many secret exchanges, an illicit affair grew into a loving bond. I suspect many of these messages exchanged contained directions for each time the pair would meet. All that was needed was an agreed upon time, as the place was surely always the garden grotto. Knowing his guard would stay outside, the ambassador asked his lover to wait patiently inside. But their love story was doomed to fail. After all, how could a high-ranking Korean diplomat return to his homeland with a Chinese servant girl as his mistress? It is a bitter truth, an all too rigid view of love, but a truth that ambassador had come to accept. But Seung Yang had no intention to comply. Instead, she set in motion a cunning plan for one last meeting. If still he refused her, he would pay the ultimate price. But if he chose to be with her instead, they would have simply returned to the house to perform a bit of theater. Everyone in the house would have woken up with a mild headache, but none the wiser. But Ambassador Choi did not have a change of heart, and so she carried out her vengeful killing, while his back was turned. With a candlestick. Already carrying a candlestick, Sun Ying waited until the opportune moment to strike. The ambassador never had a clue. She had managed to fool everyone into thinking that she had fallen unconscious as well, likely using a rag or a handkerchief to cover her nose and mouth, so fleeing was not necessary. But like all murderers, she had left a trail waiting to be uncovered. When she realized that I was close to identifying her, she did what perhaps she had planned all along. She committed suicide too? Join the ambassador, maybe? That I really... I guess join the ambassador because she was so in love. This is a tricky one because we don't know that one. This is just... I conclude that she wanted to join the ambassador because she was so in love with him that she would even kill him because he didn't choose her. So I'm gonna go with join the ambassador. And that was right, cool. What took place here tonight was a love affair gone wrong. There were no political machinations at play, no revolutionary plots to unravel. It was a simple tale of passion and rage. Afterwards,
It never ceases to amaze me how the human heart can be so frail and yet so hardened at the same time. I'm in your debt, young magistrate. Your handling of this case was impeccable.
thank you, sir. I am happy I could be of service.
Then why the long face? By solving this case, you've given this treaty a chance of revival. You've done a great service to me, and more importantly, to His Highness. Thanks to you, diplomatic means are still within reach, as the Koreans can hardly blame us for their own man's weaknesses. You should be proud of this accomplishment, and I will make sure the Emperor knows of your outstanding service.
I'm humbled by your kind words, Minister. But if I may speak frankly, something about this case, about Sun Ying, still leaves me uneasy.
And what might that be?
I've yet to put my finger on it, but I have a lingering feeling that something doesn't fit.
Nonsense! That woman was a spiteful wench who committed premeditated murder. I see no flaw in your theory. This is no time to second guess yourself, D. If you wish to serve the Empire, there's much more work to do.
Perhaps you're right. I'm probably just overthinking it.
Remember this night, young detective. You now stand at the crossroads to greatness. There is no turning back.
Well, that was kind of a sad ending to a story here. Chapter 1, The Stranger and the Dream. 10 months later. Guys, but I'm really sorry. We will have to play that part on the next episode of Detective D. The Silk Rose Murders. Or the Silk Rose Murder. See you then.